Search best ETF for Europeans, and you'll get 1,000 answers, and none of them agree. It's overwhelming, and honestly, it's designed to be. So let's cut through it. There are really only 3 ETFs that matter for a European investor. Not 30, 3. I'll show you exactly what each one is for, and here's the twist most channels won't tell you. By the end of this video, you'll probably realize you only need the first one. Let's simplify this for good. Hello, I'm Wealthy in Europe. Welcome back. Quick note before we start. This is educational information only, not financial advice. Every fund I mention is an example to explain an idea, not a recommendation. Always do your own research before investing your money. Block 1, the core. This is the foundation, and for a huge number of people, it's the entire portfolio. The idea is simple. You own one single fund that holds thousands of companies across the whole world in one purchase. When you buy a global equity ETF, you're not betting on one company or one country. You own a tiny slice of basically the entire global stock market. America, Europe, Japan, emerging markets, all of it, automatically weighted, automatically rebalanced. The most popular example in Europe is a fund tracking the FTSE All-World Index. The accumulating version has ticker VWCE, with a fee of about 0.19% a year. There's a near identical one tracking a similar MSCI index too. Same job, tiny fee. But here's the one real decision inside Block 1, and it's the most argued question in European investing. All world or developed world? A developed world fund is a little cheaper, around 0.12%, but it leaves out emerging markets. China, India, Brazil, and the rest. So the question is really, do you want the whole planet, including the fast-growing but bumpier parts, or just the established economies? There's no universally correct answer. All world is the simplest own everything and stop thinking option. Developed only is a deliberate, slightly cheaper bet that the established world keeps leading. Keep that fork in mind because our first investor is about to face it. Meet Sofia. She's 26, she's just opened her first broker account, and she has one goal: start investing without turning it into a second job. Sofia does not need 3 ETFs, she needs Block 1 and that's it. So which fork does she take? For Sofia, the honest answer is, the simplest one wins. She picks the all-world fund, the whole planet in a single line, sets up an automatic monthly buy, and closes the app. That's a complete, globally diversified portfolio in one fund. No Block 2, no Block 3. If you're where Sofia is, you can stop the video here and you'd already be ahead of most people. Genuinely. So who needs more than one? That brings us to Block 2, the Stabiliser. This is a bond ETF, and its job is completely different from the core. The core is there to grow your money. The Stabiliser is there to stop the ride from being quite so terrifying. When stock markets fall, and they will, bonds tend to hold much steadier. So adding some can shrink those gut-wrenching swings. An example here is a global aggregate bond ETF, hedged to euros, with a fee around 0.10%. And notice I said hedged to euros. That matters, because unhedged global bonds add currency risk on top, which rather defeats the point of the safe part. But be honest with yourself about what Block 2 is. It is not there to make you rich. Over long periods, bonds usually grow slower than stocks. You're not adding them for return. You're buying a smoother ride and some protection for money you might actually need soon, which is exactly why our next investor cares about it. Meet David. David is 48. Through years of steady investing, he's built up around 100,000 euros, and he's starting to think about using some of it in the next decade. Maybe helping his kids, maybe easing toward retirement. For David, 100% stocks might be too much of a roller coaster. A 40% crash on a small pot in your 20s is a lesson. On 100,000 euros you're leaning on soon, it's a real problem. So David keeps Block 1 as his engine, but he adds Block 2, the Stabiliser, to take the edge off. Maybe he holds most of his money in the global equity core and a meaningful slice in bonds. The exact split is personal. It depends on when he needs the money and how well he sleeps. The point isn't the number. The point is that Block 2 exists for David's situation, and it didn't for Sofia's, which leaves Block 3, the tilt. And this is where people overcomplicate everything. A tilt is an optional extra ETF you add on top of your core because you have a specific conviction. Maybe you want more of the US, an S&P 500 fund. Maybe more emerging markets or smaller companies. The examples you might recognize from one of our earlier videos are the European S&P 500 funds, tickers like CSPX, SXR8, or VUAA. Here's the crucial framing. Block 3 is a want, not a need. Your core already holds all of these things. Adding a tilt just means you're deliberately overweighting one slice because you believe in it. That's a completely valid choice, but it is a choice, not a requirement. If blocks 1 and 2 are the meal, block 3 is the seasoning. And you can absolutely ruin a good meal with too much seasoning. You might remember Maria. A few videos ago, she started with €1, then bought her first flat. Now she's a confident investor with a solid global core. And she has a conviction. She thinks the US keeps leading, and she wants a bit more of it than her all-world fund already gives her. So Maria adds a small block 3, a European S&P 500 ETF, exactly the kind we covered in an earlier video, on top of her core, not instead of it, on top. The core stays the foundation. The tilt is a small, deliberate lean. That's the right way to use block 3, from a position of strength in a small dose with your eyes open. Maria isn't chasing the newest hot fund. She's making one considered bet and keeping it modest. So, the only 3 ETFs a European needs. 1. The core, a single global equity fund. 2. The stabilizer, bonds for when you need a smoother ride. 3. The tilt, an optional lean for a specific conviction. But look at what actually happened. Sofia needed 1, David needed 2, even Maria, an experienced investor, needed 3 only because she chose to. The uncomfortable truth the finance world won't sell you because there's no money in it. For most people, most of the time, block 1 on its own is a brilliant, complete portfolio. The skill in investing usually isn't adding more. It's having the discipline to add less. So instead of me handing you 3 tickers to go buy, here's the system to decide for yourself. Ask 3 questions. 1. Is a single global fund enough for me right now? For a lot of you, that's a yes, and you're done. 2. Do I need to protect money I'll use soon, or do market swings genuinely stop me sleeping? If so, consider the stabilizer. And 3. Do I have a real conviction I want to back, knowing it's optional? Only then, the tilt. We haven't handed you a shopping list. We've handed you a way to think, so you can ignore the noise for good. And once more, this is educational information only, not financial advice, and everything named was an example, not a recommendation. Always do your own research before you invest. If this made the ETF world feel a little less overwhelming, hit subscribe. It genuinely helps the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.